Welcome back to Final Expense Telesales. My name is Dana Neeson. What you are seeing behind me is some data and some numbers that I'm going to go over with you today. Last Tuesday, I turned my ad account back on to show the team what's possible and what happens when you live in lead abundance. Now, I turned this on even though I still held trainings, I still did coaching, I still went into a live dial room and listened to agents for 90 minutes at a time. I still do interviews and all of the social media things, record content, edit content, post content, all the things. I'm still a mom, I'm still a wife. I am crazy busy. I could have every excuse in the world to say it would be crazy for me to take on yet another role, put on another hat of a salesperson. And I did. And I did it not because I'm some great superhuman AI bot salesperson that can just do anything at any time. No, that's not the case. I did it because even though I cannot dedicate 8 to 10 hours a day to work the leads, that when you live in an abundance of leads, you can cherry pick. When you live in an abundance of leads, you can be busy when you want to be busy, and you can focus on other things when you want to focus on other things. I can't imagine the results I would have gotten actually had I spent 8 to 10 hours a day working leads. So I'm going to go over these numbers that you see up here. Mine is the very top row. So I'm going to go over each row line by line. I'm going to show you what I sold from this. I'm going to tell you my activity. And then we're going to end this with my recommendation on why even as a part-time agent, you need to live in lead abundance. So let's get started. You can see right here at the top of my screen that I filtered this by Tuesday to Tuesday. So my ad set turned on Tuesday evening. So I didn't start getting leads until the 14th. And I turned my ad set on Tuesday afternoon. I did that because my schedule was kind of crazy, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. But in that time frame, I generated 148 leads. My average cost per lead at the end of the day was $12.58. And it didn't start out that way, by the way. It didn't start out at $12.58. I think it started at like $30. And then as the audience got built and as Meta started to figure out who to show my ads to, it leveled out and came down. And because of the volume, I had set a budget for $250 a day. That was my budget that I had set for the week. My goal was to be able to spend $1,750. It kind of overspent at the end of the day, which is fine. I'm totally fine with that. I spent $1,861.87 on leads. And yes, so that is my results. Now, when you get that many leads, you start to feel a sense of like overwhelm, even if you're working full time, because the leads just come in, boom, 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 like rocket fire. To be transparent, we do use a CRM dialer with AI SMS automation. So my leads are getting worked, at least by text message, even when I can't work them. So that gives me a sense of relief, and that some sort of engagement is happening if I can't pick up the phone and dial it, because to be quite honest, I couldn't. When I was working these leads, I would spend an hour and a half to 2 hours in the morning, either before my morning meeting at 8 a.m. Pacific time or right after my meeting at 8 a.m. Pacific time. I had an entire full day booked out of meetings, trainings, coachings, interviews, all the things. And then I would do another 2-hour block at the end of the day. After I took my daughter to gymnastics, after they got home from school, they got settled, and I would do another 2, maybe a 3-hour block. So call it a 4-hour block during the day. I would keep an eye on the leads during the day. If I saw someone is completely engaging in the bot and I had maybe 15, 20 minutes to give them a call to see if I can make something work, I can shift my schedule if I need to. But I wasn't like jumping over my schedule and canceling things to make sure that was my full focus. Okay, that's super important. The other thing that's really great about the bot is that it also schedules appointments. And so this week, even though I turned the lead campaigns off, I have like so many appointments this week for leads my team couldn't even schedule coaching with me this week. So I turned it off and I said, look, guys, I just wanted to prove a point. I turned it off. I got to get through the week. We will still have our daily trainings. I still have a bunch of people that I'm working with, but it got a little crazy, right? It got a little crazy. And that's the world you want to live in. You want to feel like when you feel that feeling of I can't keep up, you know you have the right amount of lead volume. Okay, so I'm going to show you my results. I actually wrote 7 policies and I don't know what happened, but I never went in here and submitted the sale. And then I didn't want to do it like after the fact because I wanted to report it correctly. So it's just not in there. I promise you I did. So I'm going to include that in my numbers. But if you were to just add up from 447 to 1343, that comes out to 7,875 AP. Even if that's all I did I make a profit? I'd say so. I had an extra sale in there for $858. That brought it to 8,733 AP from call it $1,900 spend. So if we were to take this calculator out, 8733, let's say I'm on a 90% contract, right? It doesn't matter what percent contract I'm at. Let's call it a 90% contract. That leaves me with a commission of $78.59. Okay. And let's subtract my lead cost of, let's get the exact amount. $1861.87. $1861.87. That leaves me $6,000 rounding up. It's $5,997. So call it $6,000. And that is my actual profit. Now, yes, there's a 75% advance. Okay. But is that still more than 1,800? Yes. Am I still profitable? Yes. At a 90% commission? Yes, I'm still profitable if that's where I'm at and where a lot of agents start at that are afraid to invest in themselves. And then I have my pay through, right? I have my pay through that I look forward to. Not everything's going to stick. We might have an 80% persistency, and even at an 80% persistency, if I take another 80% from that, we're left with $4,798. Is that still more than the $1,800 that I spent? The answer is yes. So what is the point here? The point is that there is something called the law of large numbers, meaning that a conversion rate on a large amount of leads is not the same thing. You will not get the same conversion rate in a small batch of leads. Okay? Because the larger your opportunity is, actually the more you will convert. It sounds counterintuitive and it is kind of crazy, but it's true. I only converted about 5% of the total amount of leads that I got, mostly because I couldn't call them all. There's leads that came in that I still haven't called, which I know you're probably thinking, what a waste of money. But is it a waste of money if I got an ROI and I was profitable? 7 sales in 1,861 amount spent. That gives me a cost per acquisition of $265. That is probably a little bit on the high side, but again, considering I did this on a less than part-time capacity, I would say that I'm pretty happy with the results that I got. I presented, overall, by the way, I contacted, of the ones that I called, I contacted, I think it was like 104 or 107 or 127, something around there. I contacted 30% of the leads that I got. A contact was not interested, contacted them by chat. Like I actually intervened and texted them and we had a conversation by chat. There was only a handful of those, and presentations. And I think I ended up presenting to like 14 or 15 of them, and I closed 7. So almost about a 50% close rate. Wish it was a little bit higher. Might have presented to people that I probably shouldn't have. But the point is that if you are only dipping your toe, if you're only getting 20, 30, 40 leads a week, You're not giving yourself enough opportunity to feel like, wow, this is a lot of leads. I can't keep up. Like you can't cherry pick. So what you're doing is you're calling the same leads over and over and over and over again. And these leads become aged leads very quickly. Within a couple of days, they're aged. And calling the same group of leads over and over and over and over again, that's what leads to burnout. Lead abundance does not lead to burnout. Lead abundance actually makes you feel busy. You get a lot of conversations. You feel like you actually enjoy your job. Lots of conversations is what? Lots of practice. I can actually listen to your sales calls. We can give you feedback so you can improve. You will stumble over sales when you live in a world of abundance. And what, $1,800 that I spent, how many sales is that? 2, right? Maybe 3, depending on how much the AP is. Do you think, can you bet on yourself enough to think that you can convert 2 or 3 out of 150 leads? If the answer is no, well, then you might be in the wrong business. I mean, do you have enough belief in yourself, in your ability, in your skills to bet on yourself? And if that answer is yes, then you absolutely need to get out of your own way and put yourself in the position that you know you need to be in order to see success. So those are my numbers. That was my week. I'm very happy with it. The rest of the leads, I have no idea what I'm going to do with. Probably give them out to my team because I certainly don't have any more time to work them and dial them. And that's it. That's all I wanted to share with you today. I hope you learned something from this. What is your takeaway? How many leads are you getting now? How many leads will you commit to get? And it doesn't matter what your CPL is. It doesn't matter if it's $3 or $20. It's abundance. You need abundance. You're talking a couple $100 difference, right, between CPL. As long as you're getting real-time leads that are going right to you and you're not living in a world of aged leads, okay, that's the key here. These are real-time leads that raised their hand at some point in time today and said, I want information on burial insurance. Okay, that is all there is. Let me know if you have any questions. Give this video a like, post a comment so I know you learned something. And as always, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.